Good morning, everybody. So today is really a history-shifting day for the Los Angeles Lakers.
Oh, yeah.
James to Davis, and a chance for three.
If you're telling me that LeBron James has Anthony Davis available to him, excuse me, I'm rolling with the Lakers to win the title.
It's over. This historic 2020 NBA championship belongs to the Los Angeles Lakers.
What was he doing upstairs? Good question. Drinking coffee with Magic Johnson? Good question. Exactly.
I just wrote a little letter to tell you. We don't get it poppin' like I tell you.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Late Night Lake Show, pregame show powered by Crossover Media. It is your hosts, Ricky and Kwame. We come to you guys ahead of Lakers Sixers tonight. Tip-off is at 6:30 local time. 6:30 local time for us. Thank the Lord for that. It will be an early basketball game for a lot of our Laker faithful out there on the West Coast, but it's all good if you traveling home from work. If you if you still at work, it's all good. Just put us in one ear. We're going to talk that good Laker propaganda with y'all for about an hour. We got our boy Alan of Lakerside Chats, our boy from the UK, stopping by, our Bosnian beast, to come talk that good Laker talk with us. Or should I say pause after that? I probably should pause after calling somebody my beast. Yeah. Anywho's, it's all good, man. Especially here in Lakerland. Our Los Angeles Lakers are stepping into the building at 14-4, a perfect 10-0 on the road. The last two games have been homecomings for both Anthony Davis and LeBron James. AD, just babying the baby Bulls. I wish we could have recorded for that game, but it's all good. But the performance he put on, dominating the Bulls on both offensive and defensive ends of the floor, chef's kiss. Then returning back to his stomping grounds, the king, LeBron James. I don't know. Kwame, how would you describe what the hell happened the other night with LeBron?
Man, that guy was going crazy. Like, unbelievable. What he shoot? 7 of 11 3-pointers?
Yeah.
He was going ballistic. Fadeaways. Oh, yeah. He was showing that, when it's time to, pull out the toolkit and show what's in his bag, he can still do it. So, it's crazy how he's gotten that much better as a 3-point shooter in such a short off season. It's getting scary, man. It's getting scary because he can still attack the rim like nobody else's business. But to be able to shoot that 3 ball like that, how do you guard him? What do you do? What do you take away now?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, you ever be watching something? It's usually happening in sports, right? When we on the couch watching somebody at home, or you're watching, at the arena, and somebody just going off, or somebody, rapping. Everybody got friends, and you sit there and they rapping, they going off, and you just start looking at them. You almost start looking at them with this concerned face, like, what the hell has gotten into you?
Yeah.
Who are you right now? And that's what I was on the couch. I had to stand up because LeBron was just on his bullshit in a good way, and he was just doing everything he wants. And I'm like, how am I supposed to grade basketball if this man is 36 years old, pulling up from the logo, but still driving by 21-year-olds and dudes who still have not met their first baby mama yet? How am I supposed to grade what the hell LeBron James is if he's looking at calves that are closer to his second child's age than his age? I don't know how I'm supposed to digest that basketball as anything but GOAT talk. You know what I'm saying? So it is just so nice to have on the Los Angeles Lakers. You see that this is a temple of one Kobe Bryant as we remember him yesterday, but LeBron James and what he is bringing to the franchise in the year of our Lord 2021, it's a little bit more than a shot in the arm. Like, this man is still in his prime, Kwame. Still in his prime.
It's crazy to me. I mean, did you see the play the other day in Cleveland where he chased down Colin Sexton? The man's elbow was at the rim. At 36 years old, this man is still flying. Like, that's crazy to me. And it was nothing. And I mean, he even collided with Kuzma in midair and just landed like it was nothing. Like, This dude, I mean,
That's the other thing, man. We see LeBron, like, there's two guys who anytime they jump into the air, I lose a little bit of breath, right? That's Anthony Davis, and that's LeBron James. AD, obviously, for good reason, you get a little concerned. But LeBron, like, it's because of his age. And it's like, man, if you go down, the ship kind of go down, my brother. We love AD, but you kind of the conductor of this right here.
yeah.
And then he just pops back up. Even when he is down, holding his face for 45 seconds, I'm like, he all right. He gonna be all right. He gonna get up. He Iron Man. And I just don't.
He just want to break.
Right. And he tired, right? Shout out to Paul Pierce, who just had to take a shit and fake the whole injury.
Crazy.
I see we got our boy Alan in the building, so let's bring him on. Our friend of the show from the Laker Fireside Chats. Alan, what's going on, baby? How you feeling?
Good evening, gentlemen. How we doing?
Doing good, my brother.
Good.
Glad to see you.
I've even had a shave for the show. Shout out to you, Ricky.
I love
Looking
it.
all shiny up here.
I love to see it, man. Yeah, they're looking like fresh, like Mr. Clean. Jake, I'm sorry. The thick women, they said they showing up in about 30. Yeah, they showing up in 30 minutes. Alan got the thick women eating dinner right now, so they gonna come in a little bit. They like the dancing lobsters from the Amanda Show. It'll be great.
Oh
But Alan, appreciate you coming and chopping it up with us tonight, our brother. We got a nice little matchup here. We talked about our Los Angeles Lakers and where they're sitting on top of the totem pole of the Western Conference of the entire NBA with the best record in the league. But they're looking at a 76ers team that's got a little gristle to them. That's got a little, pedigree, a little prestige, a couple of NBA champions over there, new addition. So it's going to be a fun matchup. People are talking about, is this a measuring stick for the Sixers? I'm happy they're not saying this is a measuring anything for the Lakers. But we got as we do every week, we got our headlines tonight where we go through the internet, scrub through all the major headlines of not only the Lakers, but the team that they're facing. This time it is the Philadelphia 76ers. And we talk about the top topics of the night heading into the game. So I would love to have you a part of this, brother. So without further ado, let's hop into our headlines tonight. I feel like we still should get some background show. Yeah. So what we got up first? Okay. So,
all right. For up first, we got Doc Rivers and the Sixers preparing for their first matchup with LeBron James and the Lakers. So the Sixers coming off a disappointing loss to the Detroit Pistons the other night. Joel Embiid sat out the last couple games, but Doc Rivers had been asked how he feels about this upcoming matchup with the Lakers, and he says, "We'll be ready when the time comes. They got LeBron James and Anthony Davis, Montrezl Harrell. They got a lot of players. I thought they probably had the best summer of anyone, and they're than last year. That doesn't mean they're going to win it all. It doesn't mean they're going to win it, but they're better than last year." So with Embiid being gone for a while, and now he's expected to return to the floor on Wednesdays. He's not listed on the injury report for tonight. He does have a tough matchup with his man, Marc Gasol, who is the starting center for the Los Angeles Lakers. As we know, Joel Embiid's having an MVP candidacy season, averaging 27.7 points per game. But in his 8 career matchups with Marc Gasol, he averages 10.6 points per game. So it seems like Marc Gasol somehow has the formula to stopping or slowing down at least Joel Embiid. Obviously, this is a new season, new scheme, a lot of different things, but I would say I like our matchup. So, Alan, I'll throw it to you. How do you feel about the potential Joel Embiid matchup with our dynamic front court with Anthony Davis and Marc Gasol, as well as just the general matchup of the Sixers versus the Lakers?
Before I go into anything, first I want to say just how good Joel Embiid's been. Everyone keeps on talking about Jokic, about Jaylen Brown as an MVP candidate, even though he's been balling. Let's just stop that nonsense. Let's talk about Kawhi, but not much talk's been going on about Joel, apart from like the guys like that we actually listen to, like Kevin O'Connor, the good guys on who cover the NBA. Shout out to Kevin O'Connor. But Embiid's legit, man. Like, he's taken a step up from last year, and last year was really, really good as well. Like, I think he's top 6, top 7 player. However, this is the worst possible matchup for him, both offensively and defensively, because defensively he'll have to guard AD, and I pray to God AD's like even a little bit engaged for this game, unlike Cleveland where he was god awful. No offense, AD. No offense to you, Ricky and Kwame. I know you love your Chicago guys, but he was bad. He was bad. He was bad.
Speak the truth. Speak the truth.
I think he gets held to less than his average this season. I think Embiid goes for about 24, 25. I'm more worried about Danny Green. I know, like, this is the type of guy who's super petty and will hit like 9 threes just to shut up Lakers Twitter.
Oh, this bullshit.
revenge
Who's
game.
going to be the star player of the night without a name bullshit that the Lakers run into every game? Yeah.
Precisely.
Shout out to Cole on Twitter. Everybody knows Cole, part of Laker royalty on social media. He already said, watch Danny Green like shake his season slump against the Lakers tonight. And that, I could probably think of 4 other things that could piss me off more this evening that could happen in the game, but that's high up there. I would not enjoy a strong Danny Green performance. Yeah, that would be number 5.
Pissed me off.
But yeah, like there's also a part of me that I really like Doc Rivers' fit with this team. It's a team that seems to have bought into Doc Rivers' principles. What Doc Rivers has done really well, being in lockdown, as you guys know, I never sleep anyway. But being in lockdown, I have no idea what day it is. Like, I'm just gonna be real with you guys. I just watch basketball like all the time, and the Sixers are really good. Albeit they haven't played many good teams, they're still really, really good. I have them as my second favorites coming out of the East. I still have Miami number 1. People have forgotten about Miami because of injuries and COVID and whatnot. Miami are legit really good. Brooklyn, when you have 3 guys like that, it's impossible to, ever count them out. But Philly, I think Philly probably have the best chance to beat a Brooklyn. They've got good wing defense. Embiid's a monster. And as we've seen, like, everyone just puts up 50 against the Nets. Like, if you're just a half-decent center. I can't lie, like, the biggest X factor tonight's Ben Simmons. Are we going to get like 25-point Ben Simmons, or are we going to get like 8-point Ben Simmons? Like,
he's going up against his idol, man. We know this story, and I think I blinded myself, especially when picking, my bets this season when it comes to my Lakers. Which before going into this year, I would never bet Lakers games, just everyone else, because I was thinking a little bit clearer. But you got to account for some of these star players facing their idols and facing, the best big man in their eyes in the league, in LeBron James and Anthony Davis, respectively. Like, when Ben Simmons suits up tonight, it's not going to be like Ben Simmons going to face, LaMelo Ball for the first time, and he already knows he's the superior player, but he wants to prove a point and dominate LaMelo. No, he's trying to prove a point tonight so that he, it can be seen as equal, at least for that setting or those moments or that play with his idol. I think Ben Simmons is going to try to have an amazing basketball game from the scoring end. There's a teaser. We got a bet later on in the show talking about over-unders for 3-pointers made by Ben Simmons. I'm going to go. Yeah, I'll tell you later. But I just, it's going to be fun seeing, how teams once again bring their best shot against the defending champs. Oh, yeah, against the Los Angeles Lakers. Oh, yeah, against LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Welcome to life in Lakerland, right?
It's a championship lifestyle, as you eloquently say all the time, Ricky.
What we got next? Okay, NBA First Quarter Awards in a tale of 2 nets. So yeah, The Athletic went ahead and started writing their articles already about, the teams that, have succeeded expectations, who have fallen beneath expectations, and all the way in between. They gave the award of Team of the First Quarter to our Los Angeles Lakers. Wow, I was not expecting that from a Ringer publication, but we'll take it. It's all good. Other teams that he had in consideration, obviously the 76ers and the Los Angeles Clippers. But a note that they did touch on with the Clippers is how they are, before, of course, the COVID ran rampant through the B team's locker room, were really starting to hit their stride, and they were pointing a lot to those fast break numbers and those open threes, or those 3-point numbers, in which they're towards the top of the league in both categories, and they weren't last year with, who we'll see tonight, Doc Rivers coaching the team. So, fellas, want to just straight up ask, right? do you guys have, one, the respect for the Clippers as a threat, and two, think that they are going to legitimately be there when it's time to dance in the second round or the Western Conference Finals? Alan?
I was just about to jump in and just say, I don't know if you guys follow Ralph Mason on Twitter. Ralph's a great guy.
Ralph, good
Shout out
people.
to Ralph. Ralph makes a really good point whenever I talk to him. The Clippers play a really high variance game. They don't really attack the rim that highly. I know they have a lot of fast break points, but if you look at, I watched them yesterday. I know they didn't have Kawhi and Paul George. Like I said, I watched a lot of the Clippers. They don't really attack the rim as much as an elite team really does usually. A lot of their shots are basically jump shots. It's not conducive to playoff success. Like, we've seen it with the Lakers. I'm not buying them, but I think that if you play a game like that, I think when it comes to a playoff series, we know how shots go. Like, Kobe legit went 6 for 24 in a finals game. Like, shit happens in the playoffs.
We
Like,
don't talk about that, Alan.
we won the game.
I understand. That's what we focus on.
God bless Kobe being Bryant, but it just proves my point. Like, you need something apart from that high variance game to propel that offense. We have that. We have so much pressure at the rim that we're taking like the 27th most, so the third least amount of threes in the NBA this year, which is staggering. It doesn't feel like we're not taking that many threes. We're just making a whole lot of them because they're wide open. Like, that's what's happening.
Well, Jake brings up a good point. Post Jake's comment on the screen, right? They say he's saying that the Clippers have no identity. I would almost argue that they are one-dimensional in the fact that, they're either going to go, and do isolation, scoring with their two stars, of course, right? Or they're doing fast breaks and pulling up for threes like half the other NBA is. What happens when you pull back those first two layers, often which happen when you get to playoff basketball, and you need to start running a little bit more half-court offenses, and you can't just let your stars carry you, through the entire series, right? That's where I would start to lean into, where is the interior offensive threat? Is it Ivica Zubac, who is still, getting his squeeze on the court? Is it who? Is it Luke Kennard finding his way as a slasher to the paint, right? Like, where do you go when door number 1 and door number 2 are closed? The Lakers have answers in Dennis Schroeder as a pick and roll offensive threat. They have answers as Montrezl Harrell as an isolation post threat. They have answers with Marc Gasol with, big man playing the, point guard position and the high post, right? Or at the top of the key. The Lakers can shift their identity. What the hell do you do when it's nut crunching time and now people can study you for a week and a half and figure out your tendencies and your playbooks? Where do you go from there?
Yeah, I think that's tough, but I think honestly they're probably just gonna try to rely on their stars, because like you said, they don't really have that team identity. I mean, they're just gonna have to rely on their superstars to carry it through. I mean, credit to them and Paul George and Kawhi Leonard this season. I mean, they're both two guys basically shooting 40, 50, 90 from the field. Like, they've been really good this season. But will that carry on into the playoffs? We've seen the Paul George flame out. So I mean, until we're proven otherwise, we just gotta assume he's gonna suck in the playoffs. We just gotta assume until he proves us otherwise. We've seen for like 3 seasons now, Paul George ball out in the regular season, and the playoffs he folds like an omelet. So we got to see something different. Kawhi will be Kawhi for the most part. I mean, I guess he was fairly bad in their game 7 as well in that second half. So
really good the rest of the time.
Yeah, they're gonna need to figure something out. I mean, I don't know maybe Ty Lue will come up with something, but like you guys said, when their first 2 options of high powered offense is kind of shut off, where do they go to? But I mean, fortunately, this is a superstar driven league, and when things start to go awry, you got to lean on your superstars to get it done. And for their sake, hopefully their guys can get it through. Maybe they can beat us at the big dance at the top of the Western Conference.
Well, one thing, I just want to add on this. One thing I will give them credit for is they have been a lot more cohesive this year. I think they are a better team. I think they have more harmony this year. I just don't think, unless they make some type of move at the guard spot, I don't think the guard play is good enough. Like, I can objectively argue that Taylor Horton Tucker is better than all of their guards, and Taylor Horton Tucker doesn't get minutes for us like in the playoffs. Like, I in this rotation right now, I don't see it, and that sucks because Taylor Horton Tucker will be a starter next year for us.
That's a very good point. They really don't have good guard play, and I mean, if they don't get what it either the trade deadline or the buyout, it's going to be ugly for them unless they plan to run 4 forwards.
If they get Derrick Rose, it's different because Derrick Rose has gone under the radar. Derrick Rose has been really good again.
I'm gonna be pissed.
That would be quite the grab for him, but
we'll see. Fuck that. We're not gonna talk about that. Next. Lakers and Nets versus the others. The way too early to look at the potential buyout scenarios. I don't think it's too early. It's 2021. The trade deadline's this year, so we might as well talk about it. The NBA trade deadline is at the end of March, and the buyout market usually comes soon after that. So they went ahead. Zach Harper of The Athletic took a look around the league, started scrummaging through bad teams, garbage, and trying to figure out who are the candidates for buyouts and how do the contenders stack up against one another for acquiring their services. As we all know, with how buyouts work, usually either one or two things happens. A good player has been signed onto a team with the hopes of being a better team. 3 years have passed. It's starting to get towards the end of the road for everybody, and they just buy him out after the trade market of not finding a deal for him. Or this player is traded and he is no longer at the top of the trade interest, so he was attached as another piece, and the team that acquires him just drops him and lets him go. Either way, there are some valuable, serviceable players that become available towards the end, quarter 3 of the NBA season. And Zach Harper says that it's the Lakers and the Nets and the rest of the NBA in a race for acquiring their services. A few names that popped up that really, piqued our interest as Lakers fans. They focused in on the centers, right? The Lakers have depth around. You can make an argument, do they need another lead guard? But, Allen loves him some THT. We love us some THT. We also love us some Alex Caruso, while not a lead guard, is, plays the point guard position well, very well. But big men, Lakers are a little light. Marc Gasol loves fouling the shit out of people, so we're going to need a little bit of backup for bro. Every 5 minutes I feel like he is picking up a foul, but it's all good. We appreciate Mark. Could use a little bit more on the scoring end if he wanted to contribute. I believe he's been in single-digit points for the last 9-ish games. It's been a while, but it's all good. Again, not hating on Mark. We got some interesting names in the bucket, though, fellas. Andre Drummond, Cody Zeller, Robin Lopez, JaVale McGee, Bismack Biyombo, DeMarcus Cousins, and Ed Davis were names that Zach Harper mentioned in his article. Out of those, Alan, we'll start with you. Which one's got your nice shiny head sparkling a little bit more?
Well, first of all, it's such a steep drop off after Andre Drummond.
Literally. Cody Zeller? Yikes. That was the next thing.
You heard? I tried building it up to it being a little bit more than what it was.
This whole playing tournament, I think, has changed the game. I think these guys won't. A guy like Andre Drummond, if Cleveland's in the race, which I think they will be, Cleveland are legit good. I really enjoy watching them. Unless they get a trade for Drummond, which unless Boston does it with a big player exception, I don't see happening unless they get bad salary back or something. I don't see Drummond getting bought out unless they did a little hush deal with Brooklyn, we'll give you Jarrett Allen if you buy out Andre Drummond later on in the season type of thing, if you know what I mean.
Right.
If we don't get Drummond, the guy I'd probably look at in that list, and God, is it slim pickings, is probably Biyombo. He's been good for Charlotte this year, but again, Charlotte could be in the playoff hunt, so do they want to buy players out? Charlotte are decent as well. They're scrappy, they fight hard, and they got good guard play. So in the East, and Maga Hayward unless he's not MAGA, like, sorry, allegedly, has been dropping it. Like, who knew that all he had to do was just go down south and he'd be like 30 point a game Gordon Hayward again? It's
Right.
mad.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I agree. I think that Bismack for the Hornets could be interesting. If we just went straight with bad teams and players that we feel good are still going to be on bad teams when the buyout market comes around, it's going to be, look at the Wizards. You got Robin Lopez, who I like Robin Lopez. He there's not a lot of mascots for him to fight in Los Angeles, but it's still all good. He's got the fucking condor across the hallway, I guess. But a JaVale McGee reunion would be nice, but I also think JaVale's going to get traded before he is bought out. It seems like the Nets have been sniffing up his booty crack for his services the last couple of days. DeMarcus Cousins, I love you, Boogie. I've seen what this version of Boogie is. I am good. And then Ed Davis, former Laker. I like the idea of Ed Davis, but I literally have not seen him play basketball since he was a Los Angeles Laker or a Portland Trailblazer. He was a net too.
He's been everywhere.
Ed Davis played for
everywhere.
Over under 9 teams Ed Davis has played for.
Probably
Under.
over.
What we got, Kwame?
I'm gonna go over.
I think he's played for 6.
I feel like he's been on every team in the league. I'll be honest, that's just me. I feel like he's been everywhere. He's been on every
I think
roster.
it's 6.
Ed Davis has played for Toronto, Memphis, the Lakers, the Trailblazers, the Nets, the Jazz, and now Minnesota. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Ooh, I was close.
He is racking them up.
Hey,
that is a lot of basketball
One
teams.
name,
Shout
one
out
name
Ed
that
Davis.
I do have in my head, though, that isn't on that list. Rashawn Holmes from Sacramento.
Oh,
yeah.
Or Hassan Whiteside, honestly, because he doesn't even stiff.
Oh yeah, Whiteside has been good. Like, he's been a legit good presence for him, even in the locker room and stuff. Like,
yeah, but Luke won't play him.
Yeah, I'm interested to know why.
Yeah, we know about Luke. But yeah, I mean, for me, I'd probably, out of that list, Andre Drummond's obviously top, but I mean, that's probably real hard to get unless we ship Kuz to Cleveland too. It's maybe some other things, but whatever. I doubt it. But Bismack's probably the best out of that group. He's a solid 10-10 dude that, could block shots, plays well. I would like him. If no one else, but yeah, I don't know. That market's pretty slim pickings, but I mean, I guess whoever goes out there essentially would just be, breaking case of emergency when Marc Gasol beats the shit out of whoever is driving to the rim in the first 3 minutes of the game. It has to sit. So he's just insurance.
And that's my last point, right? Are all these guys good with not playing? Because if you come to the Lakers, playing time is going to be few and far between. Yeah, Chris Humphries. God damn it, Jake. What's going on in Phoenix? Is the happy hour already? This man getting wild with the Chris Humphries services. Anyways, what we got next, Warren? Oh, okay. Anthony Davis's focus is on overall impact when struggling offensively. Lakers Nation. So, as we know, AD is not having the greatest, the sexiest streak from the offensive end. He went 5 of 16 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. He's been, struggling just a tad with that outside three, mid-range, while they still look butter, he's not hitting them at a high clip or at a production that is up to his expectations. They asked Anthony Davis, what's up? What are you trying to do to fix it? And he says, I'm not really paying attention to the box score. I'm not paying attention to the scoreboard. I'm not paying attention to my stats. I'm just trying to impact the game. I pick it up more defensively, Davis said, and when he's not in rhythm, try to get good screens to get the other guys open. I try to do all the other things that don't show up in the box score. Yada, yada, yada. I try to be a good teammate, right? Real fast forward point, because folks were saying that mid-range shot was confined to a Disneyland or a Disney World. Do we have concerns, fellas, that Anthony Davis's shot was still down there in Lake Buena Vista, Florida?
Alan.
I'll go. I have a theory about AD.
Oh, we like theories.
Level of engagement equals level of jump shot.
Well, don't that piss you off, man? Like how old is
Absolutely.
Anthony
Don't get me
Davis?
wrong.
Like, why are you doing this? Like, I'm sorry to cut you off, Alan. But every time I hear like, AD,
I know.
if someone had AD, if AD had someone else's motor, I saw someone say if AD had Montrezl Harrell's motor, he'd be effing, the greatest player ever. I think they showed like Hakeem Olajuwon or something like that. And I don't understand. I don't know. I don't want to say that he plays up or down. I just think he plays good or bad. But hell, are you guys seeing AD kind of not giving it 100% every game?
Especially offensively. Like, watch him against Chicago. Look at the way he shoots his jump shots. Look at how fluid it is. He's engaged in the game. He's back home. He wants to put on a show. Fast forward to Monday night in Cleveland, he doesn't really care. He cares about winning, and that's about it. So he'll put in as much effort as is needed so he doesn't hurt himself on the court. He'll score here or there because he's a superstar, and superstars do those types of things. But it's linear. Whenever he's really engaged, like look at the Christmas Day game, he lit it up. Whenever there's any type of big game, he shoots really well. But whenever it's a game that he deems that isn't really important, he stinks the place out offensively. And I think there's too much of a correlation this season. Now, I think he'll kick on, like after All-Star break, whenever that is. I think we'll start to see AD being really engaged every game offensively, because I don't think he's a problem defensively. And it does piss me off. But I think there is if you go back and watch the games, there is a correlation of it.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Shout out Vinay. What's going on, V? Hello. And Vinay saying, he's engaged for fourth quarter, snoozing through the first three. And it's like, again, not to beat a dead horse, but why the hell is that a characteristic of Anthony Marshawn Davis Jr.? Like, especially, all the hype everybody else was pumping up about him being the defensive player of the year coming into this year, an MVP candidate this year. And what ends up happening? The old man just comes by on his walker and walks right past him in the MVP race in LeBron James. Like, Kwame, talk to me, man. Like, is this a motor thing? Is this an engagement thing? Is he like, really, I don't give a fuck if these teams are bad. We're the Lakers. We'll do it. Like, that's a little bit quick to take that disposition, is it not?
I mean, I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, obviously his intensity isn't always there, but like Alan said, in the games where he deems more of a challenge, or hey, this team thinks that they could beat the Lakers. All right, I'm gonna show them. I'm Anthony Davis. But in the other games, he's just kind of meh. I think that just has to do with a lot of, just his mindset of, it's a long season. I think he's like Jake had just said in the comment that just popped up. I think he's kind of taking a more of like a LeBron approach, just kind of casually going through the regular season, just making sure I come out healthy and all that. Because at the end of the day, winning's the most important thing. If he wants to go crazy in the regular season and bang himself up offensively, that's not great for anybody. I mean, he's had those seasons putting up monster numbers down in New Orleans, and what did it amount to? If he puts up mid-season numbers and doesn't win his MVP or whatever, if he's a champion, I think that stands a bit higher on his pedestal. That'd just be my assumption of what his mindset is. But I mean, fortunately, he's not slacking on the defensive end as well. If he was sticking up the joint completely, now that would be an alarming problem. But I just think maybe his engagement isn't always there, and he settles a little too much for his jump shot, and he's not necessarily banging in the post like we would want him to. But I mean, we've seen that with LeBron. We want LeBron to take it down low, put him in the post. He can stop anybody. He can drive on anybody. Why is he shooting? Players have their own reasons for doing it. There's a reason they're NBA players. They're superstars. We're casual guys, just talk about the game. So I'm sure he'll figure out. He'll be ready when the times come. I'm not worried about that. He's shown that he can show up in big moments in big games. So, I know everybody's ready to, freak out. They wanted him to be MVP. I wanted him to be MVP too. But, maybe that's not what he wanted.
Bron wants his fifth MVP, though.
Yeah,
can I just add something on AD quickly?
Yeah.
He's been objectively bad, like for his standards, like top 3 player in the world standards, but he's still averaging 21.8 points a game, 8.9 rebounds, 3.6 assists, 1.4 steals, 1.9 blocks on 52.3% shooting and 35% from the free.
That's not bad.
It's just we have standards that he's a top 3 player in the game, which he is.
Correct.
And he isn't LeBron James, where when he's playing at 60%, he'll still drop 25 a game. Like, that's just what it is.
All right. I won't go any further on this one. What we got next? Oh,
this one's
Kwame, you
near
had to
and
sneak
dear.
this one in, dog. You had to
Near
sneak it
and
in.
dear. So, how the New Orleans Pelicans became the NBA's biggest disappointment. So,
There we
we
go.
got this team fresh off, most improved player Brandon Ingram season, Zion, who's supposed to be the next face of the league, generational players. People have crowned him already. The Pelicans had a pretty decent start to the season, but they've lost 8 of 9 games, and they currently sit at 14th in the Western Conference. They rank 25th in points allowed per possession outside of garbage time. But it appears that the wheels are falling off here. Our boy Sham Sharani of The Athletic had said Lonzo Ball and JJ Redick are now on, they're receiving calls and, maybe
They're on the trade block.
They're on the block. So, we as Laker fans, we have a forever connection to the New Orleans Pelicans now, as we gave them our young core, and we got, superstar Anthony Davis, NBA champion Anthony Davis, might I add you.
NBA
So,
champion.
there was a lot of talk on Twitter early on that the Lakers lost that Anthony Davis trade, giving up too much. And now it's looking like the Pelicans, the wheels are literally falling off, and they are about to have a fire sale. So, Alan, I'll lob it to you. What is going on with the Pelicans, and how did they go from winning the Anthony Davis trade to the bottom feeders of the West?
First of all, free my guy BI. That's all I want to say.
Free
BI,
Tiny Dog.
like
That's dropping next.
Brandon
In the
Ingram
merch shop.
is a legit top 15 player in the NBA.
Yeah.
Zion Williamson is really, really good at 20 years old or 21 or however old he is. And they're this bad. Like, first of all, shout out to David Griffin for building the worst team that you can build around Brandon Ingram.
He doesn't have the same motor about winning. He doesn't have the same desire.
JJ Redick walked up to Zion and said, "I made the playoffs my whole career. Don't mess this up." Zion should have told him, you should have walked to fucking David Griffin's office and said that to him.
Exactly. But in all seriousness, Stan Van Gundy has had a lot of criticism for playing a very old school type of basketball. Have you seen the team he has?
Right.
Like, what other brand of basketball can he play? Is he really going to get Steven Adams to shoot corner threes all game? Like, let's be realistic. Like, after a while, Jackson Hayes is yikes.
What kind of pick was that? Ugh.
Well, they would have been better.
Everybody said Jackson Hayes is going to be the pick of the steal of the draft when the Pelicans took him. I remember Colin Cowherd when he was reviewing the Pelicans draft and how they ended up winning the trade because of the assets that David Griffin was able to flip from the picks that he picked up from the Lakers that year, and then just was raving about Jackson Hayes. Yeah, what's Jackson Hayes doing besides complaining that he didn't make the rookie sophomore game? Like, how you not make the rookie sophomore game? Anyway, this ain't a Jackson Hayes story. Alan, I'll let you finish your point, brother.
And yeah, so my guy Jason Maple said it very eloquently. Draft picks are great until they become Jackson Hayes and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Like, no disrespect to either of those guys. Are obviously way better basketball players than I am. However, they would have just been better off having DeAndre Hunter on the team, really good wing defender, a guy who's a legit three-point shooter, can score in different ways, is a perfect complement to what Zion and BR are, by the way. Like, would have fit that team like a glove. And yeah, like, it makes no sense. Lonzo's been really bad, which I didn't envisage. I think he's just had all the confidence taken out of his game. Yeah, but I agree with that, Viv, but I think it's down to the personnel they have as well. Like, they have a team made for the late 90s. I don't. You can't run it.
They said they'd be dominating the.
Why
the
did they go get
Bulls
Steven
right
Adams? I don't understand.
I don't know, man.
Steven Adams next to Zion does not.
They could have got Al Horford. They could have made it make sense.
They could have had George Hill.
I don't know.
But they took
man.
Eric Bledsoe. Like, I don't understand.
I
Like,
don't understand.
you want two non-shooters in your backcourt, and then your other two guys are what? Kyra Lewis Jr., who weighs like 100 pounds, who obviously can't handle the NBA yet. He's a really good player, but he's still like 2 years away from being NBA ready. And Nikhil Alexander Walker, who goes from either being inferno hot or like not being worth being on an NBA court. And then from there you go like, who's behind BI on the wings? There's no one. Nicolo Melli, I love my European guys, but he's going to be in the EuroLeague so fast next year. It's unbelievable. And Steven Adams is one of my favorite players in the NBA, but they shouldn't have given him 17.5 million a year. Like, it's simple. Like, these are simple things. Like, I'm not saying I'm not saying that I could do the job better than David Griffin. However, I cannot believe that there's no one in that front office going to David, yo, Dave, we need to build a team around BI and Zion. That means we need shooters. Right. That means like a guy like Bogdan Bogdanovic who went to Atlanta. Let's try and get him. George Hill instead of Eric Bledsoe. Let's keep George Hill. Let's not flip him for Eric Bledsoe because we all know what Eric Bledsoe is right now. He's not great. He is what he is.
Baby Shaq.
Exactly.
But that's not good when you're a point guard.
So shout out to David Griffin. Shout out to that awesome team he's built that he wants to win organically instead of the inorganic winning that we're doing in LA.
Yeah. Well, hell, if the Pelicans win a championship whenever with a roster of traded Lakers, not sure how organic that buttermilk is. Like, so what's it matter? What's it matter? Everybody shits on the Lakers just trade for their superstars and they just win championships. As opposed to what? You getting traded the young assets because your superstar don't want to be there no more? Is that still organic fruit juice? Or is the end result all that matters? Anyways. All right. I think that is our headlines.
Josh Hart's head's still in LA.
Yeah. Man, hey, Alan. We don't talk about bro on this show. I ain't trying to go in. I'm not trying to say nothing too crazy. I just find it funny that he's found himself in poverty after being oh so happy to be leaving the Lakers because you hear your name in rumors every day. Well,
about to be back in them. They're about to get in there.
You're about to get flipped again from the fucking New Orleans airport. How do you feel about that? To Tampa Bay to go play for the Raptors. Enjoy Canada after next year.
Make sure he packs his Xbox.
The hell, enjoy the Orlando Magic, which I'm sure is about to go and pick you up, and then there's just your purgatory for the rest of your career. Enjoy that, Josh. I'm sure that is better than being in Kyle Kuzma's position, who has an NBA championship and is still getting minutes on a championship team. I know. Horrible life. We're running up on time. The Lakers are kicking off in 30 minutes, so we're just going to jump right into our last segment of the evening. We're going to try to win some money, y'all. It is money-making time here on the Late Night Lake Show, pregame show. Get your dollars out and get your this is a fly swatter because we swatting all the bullshit bets and we only taking in the good stuff. So we swatting. See, I'm bringing props to the show today. So
by the way, we are not experts, so don't be mad if you lose.
Oh, yeah, this is not betting advice. We are just here to talk about what's looking good, what we could or could not be tossing a few shekels on. By the way, Alan, what's the betting situation over by you? I feel like you guys could gamble on sporting a long time ago.
Oh, yeah, like it's advertised everywhere for us. Like I feel like 15-year-olds can bet here. Like it's just embedded in
crying.
The picture.
Jeez. They getting a little scratch before third period. What'd you think about the football game, mate?
Bro, no word of a lie. I used to bet with my teachers about soccer games.
I'm crying. Wow.
I used to win.
All right, let's take a look at the matchup tonight. Brought to us by DraftKings. These spreads are brought by DraftKings. They're not sponsored of us yet, but I do have stock in them, so that kind of makes us family, right? Anyways. Lakers are minus 4.5 on the money on the point spread right now. I think that top one should be plus 4.5 up there. So the Lakers are minus 4.5 on the point spread. Total points over under 221.5. We already saw our boy Jake say take the over, And then our money line, the Lakers are minus 175. We'll go through as we always do with these bets, see what's looking good, see what's not looking good. Again, that Philadelphia point spread, obviously they will be plus 4.5 here. So, Alan, what's looking good to you? What you feeling? What's a strong bet tonight?
The total points, man. I think there's going to be a ton of points in this game. What both teams are averaging around 114, 115, over 225, 1.5. I think you'll see now that it'll become like an 87, 82, 19, like 70s game now that I've said that. But take the over on that one.
Yep. Quan, what about you?
I'd probably take the over on that as well. But I mean, these are two very good defensive teams, but I mean, they also have an immense amount of offensive power as well. So I'm a side with the over there. Yeah,
I'm with that too. I mean, I'm not touching that point spread. Is not juicy enough for me either way, right? Either with Philly plus 4.5 and the Lakers minus 4.5. But let's just bet the shootout, boys. Let's go all in on that bet. So we got the over, folks. Lock it in. Total points over 221.5. Okay, what we got next? All right, I believe this is points scored for the game, and we have a list of players playing tonight: LeBron James, Montrezl Harrell, Joel Embiid, KCP, Danny Green, Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, and Seth Curry. Over under points scored. What's looking good on here, fellas?
Embiid under.
You liking the over or the under?
The under.
Ooh, that is plus 100. If you're gonna do it, you might as well do it with the money in your favor.
I have faith in Mark. This is one of the two matchups he was brought in for. This and Jokic. If he doesn't do well here, then I'm worried about Mark officially.
Yeah, I'd probably side with Allen. I go the under for Embiid, and I go the over for LeBron. I think LeBron will probably put up a 28-30 bomb. That's my guess. Vinay, I like that too. The Danny
Green,
he
stole mine. Dog, that was V. That's exactly what I had. We talked about it. Kobe already talked about it on Twitter. This is just how the world plays out, right? All the stuff, apparently folks were making Mohawk songs about Danny Green when he was with the Lakers. So, this is going to be his version of his revenge season. So I'm locking in Danny Green over 8.5. He might do that in the first fucking quarter. We'll see. What we got next? Oh, this is fun. All right, so we got two individual bets here, right? So 3-pointers for the game. We have Ben Simmons and LeBron James. LeBron is at over under 2.5. Ben Simmons is at a half of 3. If he hits 1, we making some money. Fellas, what's looking good here? Give Ben Simmons hit 1-3. Again, juices are flowing. People hyped up. They pumped up. Matter of fact, I might take this bet right now. Let me go. Y'all talk. What's looking good?
Over on both, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, LeBron, he's going to shoot probably 6 threes tonight, like almost guaranteed. He's shooting 6 of them joints, and we're probably going to get a fuck you one. So there's one for sure. So I mean, I'm taking the over for sure. Ben Simmons, my God, I don't. What, bro? I mean, how many has he made on the season? I think he's made like 2 on the season. I think he's like 2 for 8 or something wild like that.
Let me have a look.
I'm tying them together. I'm making it a parlay. I'm taking the over. They both got a hit.
Hey, them odds got to be crazy for the.
Bro, I'm getting an iPad Pro out of it. So everybody knows I'm punching it in right now. I swear to God.
Parlay. I mean, the LeBron one I think is free though. Over 2.5, I think that's a freebie.
If you win money out of this, then you're just a made man at that point, aren't you? It's like that GameStop stock. That's what it's like.
It is. It is, dog.
I wish someone told me about that like 4 weeks ago, bro. I'd be rolling right now.
Right.
I found out about a week ago, and it was I was just starting to dip my toes into investing, so I got in a little bit. And then I was like, oh, it's like this. And then I thought this is just how stocks are, but apparently it's not. All right, you guys hang tight right there. Let's stay Actually, go to the next one. If we have a next one, I'm in locking in this Ben Simmons, LeBron James parlay. Kwame, why don't you take it away on this one?
All right, we got rebounds. We got Anthony Davis and Joel Embiid. We got Anthony Davis over under 9.5 and Joel Embiid over under 12.5. Alan, which one of these you taking?
AD over 9.5. Only because I think Dwight will be so amped for this game. He'll pick up like 4,000 like 20 seconds. Shout out to Dwight. I love that dude. Honestly, I love that dude so much. Like, I wish he was still on the Lakers. Like, oh my god.
Good point though. When he gets his hands just be
they're everywhere.
Everyone.
So him and Montrezl Harrell gonna get into it. Is that what we thinking?
I think there'll be some. I wouldn't say into it. I think there'll just be some good, hard, competitive basketball played there. I think there's a Dwight ain't boogie to be starting beef with the Lakers. Dwight loved it here. That's my thing with it. Like, what Boogie did, I think, was ridiculous against us. I really do, but I don't think Dwight's that guy. I think Dwight loved being here. I think he wishes he was still here, low key, but he can't say it on like Instagram and shit.
Oh, yeah. For me, I'll probably take the. I mean, the Joel Embiid under probably sounds good to me. I mean, the odds are ass, but I mean, that's interesting. 12.5. I mean, they have good rebounders on Philly. Ben Simmons is a good rebounder. Tobias Harris is a good rebounder. You got Dwight Howard. You got good rebounders over there. And I don't think we're going to be bricking it up like that for him to snag 13 of them joints. We have big dudes as well. I mean, the East doesn't really have a terrible amount of like big men. So that's why Joel Embiid normally eats every night on the boards. I mean, outside of like Drummond and I mean, who else? I mean,
Jarrett Allen. And they're both on the same team.
It's not a lot of dudes that are just
Vucevic as well.
Yeah, I can't forget Vucevic. Yeah, you can't forget Vucevic.
Free my homie Vucevic.
I love that guy.
He's purgatory, man.
I love that
good.
guy.
He's so good,
He's
man.
so good, and he's not talked about enough. But
if Dallas can find a way to get Vucevic to pair with Porzingis and Doncic,
it's going to be ugly. It's going to be nasty.
That's a beautiful pair. A beautiful trio, man.
I love that guy. But yeah, I don't think Joel Embiid's grabbing 13 boards on us tonight. I take the under there. Ricky, you got one? Are you still punching that bet?
I think we see a game from AD tonight. National TV against the Sixers, who are really, really good. I think AD will be locked in tonight.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm here for it. Another one I just found: LeBron James to have 25 points and more than 3-point field goals made is plus 102 on the money line. So
take that.
I think
I'd take that.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna need to focus in because there's some money on the table, so we're gonna get that situated. Rebounds, bro. AD is not getting 10 boards. I'm sorry.
You don't think so?
No. This is just one of those things that I'm down on AD stats across the board right now. If it's not blocks, so Joel over 12.5.
Drummond had 17 on us.
Yeah, I got to go over.
Really?
I got to go over. Joel's the biggest dude on the court at the end of the day. Like, yes, Mark's a big boy, but that's for 5 minutes. Mark, averages 12 minutes a game. Like, there's going to be a point in time where it's Joel Embiid, Anthony Davis, and like Montrezl Harrell on the court. And,
I think we'll see more Mark minutes tonight, though. I
hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so, man.
As long as he doesn't beat the shit out of somebody the first 30 seconds again, we're gonna.
Bro, that's the other thing. Because he could be doing all that shit too, and be in foul trouble with doing like, what happened? And it's 5 minutes left in the first quarter. So, all right, cool. We got anything else? We do. To score the most points tonight: Joel Embiid, Anthony Davis, Ben Simmons, Dennis Schroeder. Which one is looking best? Anthony Davis is plus 118. This goes to show how low Vegas is on AD's scoring production right now.
They're really high on Ben Simmons, aren't they?
That's what I'm saying, man. He juiced up and ready to go. They think he about to go put on a show in front of his idol. That's what my hypothesis is, fellas.
Mate, like AD plus 118, that's a decent little bet right there. I won't put a ton of money on it, but if you're getting positive money for AD being a top scorer in a game, like especially in a big national TV game where he's been playing badly the game before, that's a decent little bet going on there. in my opinion, anyway. Coming from a guy who doesn't bet religiously, but yeah.
So is this top line versus bottom line, or just all four people?
No, just there's 4 options that you could pick from.
And I love,
yeah, positive money on Anthony Davis is enticing, but I mean, I feel like this is the LeBron MVP campaign, so I don't know if he's. I mean, I guess out of all of them to score the most of those points, I would probably. It's between to me, Joel and Anthony Davis. Joel obviously is their number one scoring option. 10 out of 10 times on that team. Anthony Davis is probably our second. So, but the money is enticing, so I probably lean towards AD. To be honest,
what's the money on Tobias Harris? That's an interesting one. That could be that under the radar guy who drops like 30 on us tonight.
Yeah, of course. And he's
been really good.
System. Let's be honest. He's been thriving in that system.
Doc's coached him before. He was really good on the Doc before.
Exactly. That was his best season on the Clippers with Doc Rivers. So
I don't have to hate Doc as much anymore because he's not a Clipper or a Celtic anymore. So I can give him his props more often now. Doc was really good with maximizing talents like Tobias Harris.
You probably still won't be finding yourself doing that a whole lot, Alan.
Not a lot, but more than what I was before.
Right. Okay. Give me. I don't understand how Dennis Schroeder is minus 114.
That's what I was about to say.
I mean, he's gonna be the smallest dude on the court, like all the time by far.
Like, are they just expecting like a log jam with all the big guys just like smacking into each other, and Dennis is just gonna drive around and weave through and get his points? I bet they're probably looking at like guard scoring against the Sixers and saying, well, Dennis the Sixers struggle with speedy, shifty guards, especially out of the pick and roll. With Joel's not a great pick and roll defender. Dwight, has been better, but he's not a great pick and roll defender as far as coming out and meeting guys. So we'll see. So that might be something interesting there. If you guys can find some bets centered around Dennis Schroeder, maybe that's where you should focus on. But that's good stuff. Do we got any more? Is that our last one here? It's our last one. All right. So I locked in a couple of bets, fellas. I wasn't able to get that LeBron James, Ben Simmons parlay, but I did go ahead and lock the over, and then I went ahead and locked in at plus 110, LeBron James having 25 points and the Lakers picking up the victory tonight. How's that sound? That sounds decent, right? That's a nice night of gambling.
Nice little bet.
Agree.
Not too crazy. So, all right, boys. Time flies when you're having fun. That's about an hour of our nationally syndicated programming. So, we're gonna get y'all up out of here and get ready for the Lakers matchup against the Philadelphia 76ers, the top dogs of the Eastern and Western Conference, facing off tonight. Is this a finals preview? Only time will tell. But we're gonna enjoy this one. Like we said, a lot of people are talking about this being a good measure and stick game for the Sixers. So, Lakers are here to show off the rings and test the up and coming Eastern Conference scrappy team. So that'll do it for the Late Night Lake Show podcast pregame show this evening. Alan, thank you so much for joining us tonight, my brother. I'm sure. What time is it there? I always got to ask.
It is 4:15 midnight.
Oh, quarter past midnight. Perfect time for a basketball game. Much better
this
than
is great for me.
To be.
This is beautiful. Like when we're not on the West Coast, I thrive. Because we finished a game by 3:00. It means I can still get a relatively normal sleep in, unless there's a good NBA game on right after. It's great. It really is.
Wow. That's fantastic. Yeah, the man who never sleeps, Vampire Allen. Appreciate you, brother.
Yes.
We're going to get up out of here, y'all. Enjoy the game. For Alan and Kwame, it's Ricky. Late Night Lake Show. Peace.
See you next time.